This next story is about how long you can expect to live based on where you live. So let's start big. The average life expectancy nationwide is 79 years old.
Yeah, but here in Louisiana, it's just 75 and a half. When you break it down, and you break it down even more beyond parishes and even zip codes, the disparities are staggering. Karen Swenson found life expectancy in neighborhoods separated by just a mile or two could vary by decades.
Old age is something most people hope for.
I'm hoping to live to at least about 85.
88?
90. 105.
90s. Hundreds.
Oh, maybe to like 100 or something.
And many expect to see.
My mother lived 99 and a half.
Well, my grandparents lived quite a long time.
I eat healthy, exercise. I don't drink at all.
But there are other factors beyond genes and behavior that can be used to predict how long you'll live, like where you live. And in some cases, a mile or two can make a big difference.
Take a look at this map comprised of government health stats. It breaks down life expectancy by neighborhoods, and the numbers are shocking. For example, in Orleans Parish, your life expectancy can vary a lot based on which side of City Park you live in. If you're in Lakeview between Harrison and Robert E. Lee, it's 88. But if you're between 610 and Harrison on the other side near Paris Avenue, it's just 70. And check this out. If you're in this area of Central City, your life expectancy is just 62. While nearby in Uptown, it's 84. That's a 22-year difference, a generation. In Jefferson Parish, we're going to see similar results. Live in Old Metairie, and you can expect to live to 83. But on the other side of Earhart, your life expectancy drops to 69.
Were you surprised by what you saw?
I was not at all surprised. The patterns I see here are very similar to what I see in other cities around the country.
Dr. Thomas Leviste is the dean of the School of Public Health at Tulane. He says people in the poorer neighborhoods are often dealing with more crime, more difficulty paying bills, fewer resources, and the unrelenting stress ultimately catches up to them.
If you're constantly feeling that you're under threat, you're constantly in a fight or flight state, your blood pressure is always high, your body is always coursing with cortisol and adrenaline, and it begins to lead to accelerated aging and the deterioration of your organs.
And coping with stress often leads to bad health habits like eating poorly, drinking alcohol, drug use, and unprotected sex.
And nowhere is the disparity line clearer than in Slidell, where living on the wrong side of the tracks can literally cost you almost a decade of life expectancy.
If these people walked to the right of the tracks, they could expect to live to 78. But if they veered to the left, just 70. The disparities everywhere are pretty shocking and frustrating.
How do we level the playing field?
Well, it's really all about what resources are in the community. So if the community is a community that's a food desert, there's nowhere to get healthy foods, then your options for healthy foods are greatly limited.
Levy says bringing more resources to those neighborhoods is critical, and so is education and teaching people to better cope. Until then, not only will the neighborhoods look different, but likely so will the age of their elders.
That was Karen Swenson reporting. And if you'd like to check out the life expectancy where you are, you can access this map on our website. It's really easy to navigate. If you look, you can see over here in Algiers Point, life expectancy 78 years old. Then come over here, over by Kenner, you can see 74 years old. So all you have to do is hover over your neighborhood, and then it can tell you what your life expectancy is. If you want to find a link to this map, again, super easy to navigate, just go to our website, WWL-TV.com.